So we've got some games that affect not only the top of the championship, but also the bottom of the championship this weekend. I'm so excited to get through these games. What's up everyone? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Today it is my championship score predictions. As always, if you want to have a chance to get a shout out and to be in the Lexus Hall of Fame, make sure you comment your score predictions in the comments down below. You can always pause the video and look at the description where I will list all this weekend's games. If you got a correct midweek score, your comment will be on the screen right now. A handful of you got a correct score. Well done to all of you. Joshua Frood and Owen Armitage deserve a shout out. They did fantastically well in midweek. This is what the Lexus Hall of Fame looks like now. Fantastic midweek, especially for Joshua Frood, who extends his lead in the top of the table. I had a stink of a midweek, didn't even get a single correct score. And what that means, Joshua Frood has increased his lead for me and Charlie Brown is catching up. So I need a big weekend this weekend. If you guys like what you see, please make sure do give this video a like. It's tremendously appreciated. 10 likes for this video will be fantastically appreciated. If you haven't done, please subscribe to the channel. I welcome all our new viewers to this channel if you've seen me for the first time. We've got 393 subscribers right now, 7 away to 400. Could we achieve it by this weekend? You guys are going to determine that. And to increase my popularity, please share my channel to as many people as you can. On that would really make my day. With any further ado, let's crack on with all of these weekend's games. So we'll start off with our top of the table clash. Swansea and Norwich. It's third going up against first place right now. I really cannot separate them. Both are in fantastic runs of form. Norwich unbeaten in 6, Swansea unbeaten in 7. So both of these sides have sustained some fantastic consistency within their runs of form. Swansea, of course, didn't actually play in midweek. They beat Rotherham by 3-1. It was a fantastic performance by them. Norwich did play in midweek. They managed to draw 0-0 with Millwall. Honestly, it was a bit of a dire game overall, and it was a pretty lackluster performance by Norwich, actually. And actually, with their 2 draws in a row, they've both been from 0-0 draws. So they have been struggling to score in front of goal recently since Jordan Hugo has been picking up that injury. They definitely need to try and pick up more goals if they want to sustain their top place in the table, because Swansea could close the gap to 2 points if they beat Norwich in this game. In a reverse fixture, it was very, very narrow, and Norwich managed to get a 1-0 victory, where it was actually Steeperman that managed to get the 1 goal, actually. So a very unlikely source getting the winning goal. I'm thinking this might be a draw. I actually think Norwich may just be able to hold out and really grind for a point. I'm going to say a 1-1 draw. I can't really separate the two sides. If it was based on performance, I might narrowly edge Swansea. But I think with the game, it's going to end 1-1, and FIFA 21 is going to agree with me. Next up, we've got Coventry going up against Watford. Coventry really stalling right now in their runs of form right now. They've only had 2 wins in their last 9 games. And honestly, with 30 points, that is definitely not a safe amount of points that they've had so far, especially with 27 games being played. Watford are still 5th place in the table, but with their last game, they lost 2-1 at home against Queen's Park Rangers. A game where I definitely feel they should have won if they actually took their chances. The last time these two sides played against each other, it was a 5-goal thriller. It was a mad game to watch. But with this game, I don't know who I'm going to edge here, because Watford don't have a strong away record. But last time I didn't say they had a strong away record. They go on and win away from home against Stoke. Of course, Coventry lost at home for the first time as well in 3 months as well. Against Watford, can they also lose at home? I mean, this might be a draw, but you know what? I'm going to edge Watford for this one. I think they might just be able to clutch a win. I'm going to say a 2-1 victory to Watford. FIFA 21 is predicting a 2-0 victory to Watford. Next up is Bournemouth versus Birmingham. Now, obviously, a lot of news has been going down with Bournemouth. Obviously, they have sacked Jason Tindall this week following their 2-1 midweek defeat against Sheffield Wednesday. They were really poor going forward in the first half. It was as soon as David Brooks and Smith went on where they looked so much better, and actually it needed a goal from Sheffield Wednesday for them to actually wake up. And even though they got their equaliser very, very well, they still managed to lose to a Jordan Rhodes header, the guy that doesn't score often. I mean, it wasn't a good showing for Bournemouth. That resulted in Jason Tindall getting sacked, and Jonathan Woodgate is going to take temporary charge. Obviously, he was assistant, but now he's been promoted back as first team manager, and he has worked with Middlesbrough last year. Don't know if he's going to be the right decision, but he may be a safe option to give him a little bit of stability whilst Bournemouth look for a permanent manager. As with Birmingham, they only managed to draw 0-0 against Wycombe in midweek, although they'll be feeling very bereaved that they didn't manage to get anything. They did have some fantastic chances, but Allsop in Wycombe's goal was absolutely incredible. They also have Roberts sent off as well. He will definitely be suspended for this game. You know what? I might just say this will end as a 1-1 draw. I can't can't really determine which one of these sides is going to win. I'll say 1-1 then. And FIFA has predicted a 0-0 draw, which I think could also happen. Next up is Barnsley going up against Derby County. Barnsley have been falling short a little bit recently, not being able to win in their last 5 games. Derby have looked promising. Unfortunately, they had a really poor showing in midweek, losing 3-0 against Rotherham, where I dare say, first 60 minutes, Derby were by far the better team. They were creating many chances, but Rotherham scored from a set piece that really wasn't well defended by Derby at all. And because Derby were committing men forward, their defence was very exposed, and eventually Rotherham literally finished them off. I'm still showing concerns with the lack of goals that Derby are scoring this season. 17 goals they've scored this season in 27 games is not good for Derby at all. In reverse fixture, Barnsley managed to ease past Derby by 2-0. I don't think it'll be just as obvious, because I think Barnsley have fallen short a little bit, and Derby have been natural to having a good bounce back ability. So that reason, I'm actually thinking I might back Derby for this one. 15 points of their 28 points that they've got this season was from away games. They picked up more away points than home points this season, so I'll naturally follow that trend. So I'm going to say Derby win by 2-1. FIFA 21 has predicted a 1-1 draw. Next up is Bristol City going up against Cardiff. It is the 7-side derby, and I remember watching the reverse fixture live, and Bristol City was the team that got the victory by getting a very early goal, and their game management for that game was spot on. They really limited Cardiff into getting back into it, even though Cardiff, I think, were by far the better team since going behind. And both of these sides have been a little bit stop-start with their runs of form. Of course, Cardiff are still trying to get used to Mick McCarthy's new managerial style. They have managed to pick up 2 draws on the bounce since he's taken over. As with Bristol City, they've had 2 defeats on the bounce. However, with their away defeat against Brentford, I know they were pretty much second best for a lot of that game, but what did impress me actually was for how clinical they looked and actually how dangerous they look going forward. It's something that if they can take against Cardiff, then maybe they can get a positive result out of it. But if you look at the history of these games, you don't really see many goals. In the past 4 meetings against each other, there's only been 1 goal within it. But I'm actually going to substitute that, and I'm actually going to say there'll be no goals. I'm going to say that this is going to be a 0-0 draw. I'm seeing that this will be a really, really cagey game. I think it will end 0-0, and FIFA 21 is going to agree with me. Next up is Luton going up against Huddersfield. I'm expecting this game to be very, very tight. Both are in very similar positions of the table, separated by 1 point as well. So very, very little separates the two sides. Huddersfield are on a pretty torrid run of form. They did previously had a form of 4 defeats in a row, but they did manage to end that rot by managing to get a point against Stoke City, where I think they were unlucky not to get all 3 points. Luton have had 2 defeats in a row, but they have both been 1-0 defeats, and they have played very tough teams. They played Blackburn and Brentford away, and to only lose by 1-0, bit unfortunate in my opinion for Luton Town's part. I think they could definitely have a big opportunity to get some of those points playing against a Huddersfield side, where away from home, Huddersfield are not particularly really good. They've only picked up 9 points away from home all season. Very little separates them, but I think I might just edge Luton because I'm a little bit more encouraged by their performances recently. I'm going to edge them by 2-1. FIFA 21 has predicted a 0-0 draw, and I won't lie, I was so close to predicting 0-0, so if it does end 0-0, I'm going to be so annoyed with myself. Next up is Middlesbrough going up against Brentford, another very important game in regards to the top 6. Middlesbrough are narrowly just outside the top 6, within 2 points outside of the top 6. They can get into that top 6 if they get a good result in this game. But they play a Brentford side that just don't look like that they're going to be losing games anytime soon. 19 matches unbeaten, Brentford are. They managed to extend that by beating Bristol City by 3-2. And I do got to give a shout out to Tariq Fosu. He was the creator of all 3 of those goals. So honestly, Tariq Fosu, I know he didn't score, but he deserves such credit. Tony scores his 20th goal of the season as well, strengthening his chances to get the golden boot as well. Middlesbrough at the moment, they've had 3 games without a win actually, but although their draw against Norwich last weekend was definitely one of the better performances I've seen at Middlesbrough, especially away from home where I've previously criticised them. I think it'll be a close contest. Brentford narrowly beat Middlesbrough by 2-1 last time. I think a very similar result will take place. I'm going to say Brentford might just edge this one, but I'm going to say 2-0 to Brentford for 3 home defeats in a row. If Neil Warnock cannot fix that, I think it'll be 4 home defeats in a row. FIFA 21 has predicted a 1-0 away victory to Brentford. Next up is Millwall going up against Sheffield Wednesday. Millwall at the moment, they have not been beaten in their last 4 games. So Gary Rowley is really determined to make sure this Millwall side are still picking up points and that they are not losing games. I mean, they've only lost 7 games, but they're 14th place on the table because 14 of those 27 games that they've already played have been draws, and they have had 3 consecutive draws. It's difficult to get a result against Millwall is what I'm trying to say here. And Sheffield Wednesday, right now, they're on a miracle run of form. 4 wins in their last 6 games. Their 2-1 away victory against Bournemouth was one of the best individual characteristic performances I've seen. Mentally, they were so strong, because Bournemouth kept peppering them with so many chances. They got the lead by playing the game plan well, soaking up the pressure and hitting them on the break. And they did that for both of their goals. And even when Bournemouth got back into it and they were pushing for a winner, they did not feel sorry for themselves. They kept going and they managed to get the winner. So very encouraging performances for Sheffield Wednesday. Millwall have not been scoring many goals, 22 in 27. Not great, really, although Sheffield Wednesday have got even a worse return of 18 goals in 26. It could be 0-0, but actually, I will back both these sides to score. I'm going to say a 1-1 draw, actually. FIFA 21 has actually predicted a 1-0 away victory to Sheffield Wednesday. Next up, we've got Preston going up against Rotherham. Preston, for me, have not been performing all that well, really. In their last 2 games, they have not been great. They managed to get a draw against Reading in the weekend, where I think they were a bit fortunate to get a point. And they lost against Sheffield Wednesday last weekend by 1-0, where they created next to nothing, which is not a fantastic sign for Preston. They play a Rotherham side where they have a little bit of rejuvenation, actually. They've had 3 wins in their last 6, and they did have a really bad defeat against Swansea. They were comprehensively beaten, but they bounced back in a big way, beating Derby by 3-0 midweek. It was definitely the performance of midweek. What they have in strength is their set pieces. If Preston cannot defend set pieces, where previously they have struggled a little bit, I think Rotherham could have a chance to snatch something here. Rotherham managed to beat Preston by 2-1 in the last game, and Preston did take the lead of that game as well, so it was a fantastic characteristic performance from Rotherham to turn the game around. I think Preston might just narrowly get their revenge. And the problem with Rotherham has been they've not been able to string a streak together, and they can't really forge a good run of form. So for that reason, I think they'll lose in this game, and Preston will feel more refreshed for not playing in midweek. I'm going to say a 2-1 victory for Preston. FIFA 21 has predicted a 0-0 draw. Next up is Queen's Park Rangers going up against Blackburn. Queen's Park Rangers and Blackburn, actually, to be fair to them, have both been doing pretty well in terms of their run of form right now. They have both picked up 3 wins in their last 4 games, and both have really strengthened their chances to achieve what they wanted to achieve. For Queen's Park Rangers' sake, they've really taken themselves a bit of distance from the relegation battle. But I'm a bit worried about them with their home form. Queen's Park Rangers have not won in their last 5 home games, with 4 of those games being defeats. But with Blackburn's sake, as I say, they picked up 3 wins in their last 4, and both have been very narrow wins, and I think most of them have been a bit fortunate. Very narrow win against Middlesbrough, very narrow win against Luton Town. But it doesn't matter how you perform, it's about getting results, and Blackburn are getting that. And if they get a fantastic results, I mean, they need a lot of results to go their way. But if results do go their way, they could potentially be in the top 6 this weekend, which is absolutely crazy following the position that they found themselves a couple of weeks ago. With this game, I think it's going to be really close. And Blackburn have recently been able to win games by the odd goal. And you know what? I'm going to do that again following with Queen's Park Rangers' poor home form. I'm going to say a 1-0 away victory to Blackburn. FIFA 21 is predicted a 0-0 draw. Next up is Stoke versus Reading. Now, I remember watching the reverse fixture live, and Stoke completely took over Reading in this game. I mean, this was when Reading looked like that they were going to have panic stations and they were losing their fantastic run. And I think this was when the cracks were starting to show, especially with their injuries as well. But with Reading, they've got a pretty strong squad. They've not got too many injuries now, so they may be able to be more competitive in this game. But what they can also take advantage is that Stoke have really been struggling to win games. Stoke have not been able to win in their last 7 games, and Reading right now have been getting a fantastic streak. They've not been able to lose in their last 6. So definitely, in terms of their form and head-to-head, you would definitely back Reading for this one. But that's not necessarily going to be the case, because Stoke, for me, even though that they've not been able to win for quite a while, they have been producing some pretty good performances, and they are a very adjustable side. They play a load of different tactics when they play against different sides. with this game, I think it's going to be really tight, actually. I think Stoke could potentially get something, but 4 of their last 6 meetings against these two sides has ended in a draw, so I'm going to predict that. I was thinking 0-0, but actually, I'll say a 1-1 draw. I think both these sides will be able to score a goal. FIFA21 is also going to agree with me. Last game to predict is Wycombe versus Nottingham Forest. Now, it's been a pretty bad couple of weeks for Wycombe Wanderers. They have been really struggling to try and get more points on the board. But what's been really bad is that the teams around them have started picking up a load of points. I mean, with Nottingham Forest, only 1 defeat in their last 6 games. In direct contrast with Wycombe, only 1 win in their last 6 games. So Wycombe have definitely been starting to be cut adrift a little bit. They have got 2 games in hand, to be fair, but even with those 2 games in hand, they will still be around 6 points of safety. So Wycombe definitely need this next couple of weeks. Definitely need to play with a never say die attitude and really go for this game. They definitely need to take more of their chances, and they definitely needed to test Birmingham a little bit more. They were a bit fortunate that they managed to hold out a 0-0 draw. As for Nottingham Forest, it was a fantastic away victory against Coventry, managing to end Coventry's dominance at home. They haven't actually lost at home for 3 months, I believe, and Nottingham Forest managed to get that. Lewis Grabban was fantastic. Not only he got a goal, but he was fantastic in like both ends of the pitch. He got a goal, but he also made a defensive clearance off the line. So Lewis Grabban being captain was absolutely brilliant. Honestly, best individual performance I've seen in midweek. I might compromise and say that this will be a draw. I'm going to say a 1-1 draw. FIFA21 is predicted a 1-0 victory to Wycombe. But that is all of my championship score predictions this weekend. Do you agree with me? Let me know in the comments down below. And make sure you comment your score predictions if you want to get your comment including my review and you want a point on the latest Hall of Fame. Without any further ado, we're in the second part of the video where I predict the Premier League games. Aston Villa and Arsenal. Honestly, 50-50, but I'm going to say Arsenal will win this one, 3-1. Newcastle, Southampton. I mean, how is Southampton going to recover from their 9-0 drumming? I'm going to say they will actually recover with a win. I'm going to say 2-1 Southampton, although they do have an abundance of injuries. Burnley and Brighton. Brighton are just narrowly getting win. 1-0 Brighton. Fulham and West Ham. Gosh, the London derby. But I'm going to say West Ham will get the bragging rights. 3-0. Man United and Everton. I'll say 1-0 Manchester United, actually. I don't know why. Tottenham and West Brom. Tottenham actually don't have a great record against West Brom, actually. I'm going to say 1-1 for that game, actually, following that Tottenham are on a great run of form. Wolves and Leicester. I'm going to say 1-0 Leicester, but I was thinking 0-0 just before recording. Liverpool, Man City. Gosh, I forgot they were playing this weekend. I think Manchester City will almost confirm their title win with a win. I'm going to say a 2-0 away victory to Manchester City. Liverpool are all over the place right now. Sheffield United and Chelsea. Oh, I hate doing this, but I'm actually going to predict Chelsea for a win, you know, because Sheffield United have been doing okay, actually, but under Thomas Tuchel, we've actually managed to get some defensive stability, 3 clean sheets in a row, which is fantastic, and I think we'll actually extend that. I'm going to say a 1-0 away victory to Chelsea, but I might regret that. And Leeds and Crystal Palace to finish things off. I think there will be 1 goal within it, and you know what? I might edge Palace for this one. Leeds have actually not been as good as home as they have been away from home, so I'm going to say a 2-1 away victory to Crystal Palace. But that wraps up for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, please make sure you do give this video a like. It just tremendously appreciated. If you haven't done, please subscribe to the channel. 7 away to 400 subscribers. So if you can get me there as soon as you can, all of that would really make my day. And please share my channel to as many people as you can. All of that would really make my day. But that wraps it up. Hopefully we have a fantastic weekend of Championship football. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary if you saw the end of this video. And as always, take care everyone.